This is a video demo of importing certificates from your Entrust Authority Security Manager or EASM into your Jellyfish portal. I've already prepared my Entrust CA and I've got a few test certificates already issued on it. I'm going to bring these over under management of Jellyfish, and then I'm going to issue some certificates using my Entrust Authority within Jellyfish. The purpose of this migration is to demonstrate the ability to cut over to a Jellyfish managed PKI while retaining your existing PKI in an online capacity, to which you can use your existing PKI and your Jellyfish PKI simultaneously, so that you can manage your migration within your own timelines and you can cut over at your own pace. To get started, I'm going to register my existing Entrust Certificate Authority within Jellyfish. This is Jellyfish's record of my Entrust Authority that we will use going forward. I've already collected all the details I need, so I'm just going to fill them out here. You'll need to know the display name as well as the Certificate Authority Gateway Server Profile ID for your CA. You'll also need your certificate PIM as well as the common name for your CA. I'm going to register the CA as both a root and an issuing because I'm using a one-tiered PKI. Now that I've registered my certificate authority, I also need to register my template. I'll register this the same way. I'm going to be using my ACME TLS certificate because I plan to use this in the future for expanding the automation abilities of my Entrust CA using Jellyfish's ACME capability. And now that I've registered both, I'm going to license them to my tenancy so that I have privilege to access them. Even if your deployment is offline and you don't use the Jellyfish Cloud platform, you will still want to perform this licensing as it's important for role-based audit controls, or RBAC future. Okay, so now let's review my PKI assets that I've imported into Jellyfish. If I jump down to my subscriptions, I can have a look at my CA management and bring up my Entrust CA. I can see that I've imported the details that match my Entrust PKI I've already provisioned, and I can see that I've configured access to the ACME TLS certificate. This matches the configuration that I have in my Entrust CA Gateway. As you can see here, I've used the REST API to retrieve my profiles, and I can see that my CA's ID is Entrust CA01, and I have a profile with the ID of ACME TLS server, and I've asked for the cert definition of dual usage. So now I should be able to inspect my certificate search and notice that I have a green field deployment. So I'm going to look for certificates issued by my Entrust CA. And I can see I have exactly one. And this is the certificate that belongs to the CA itself. You can see that this is the self-signed certificate here, as the subject and the issuer are identical. This is the certificate that I imported when I provided the certificate PIM. But now I'm going to run a synchronization to bring in all of the certificate issuances and revocations from my EASM server. So to do this, I've got the Jellyfish migration tool for EASM, and I've already configured this with access to my Jellyfish through the API and access to my CA Gateway software using a MTLS certificate key pair. So I'm going to start this now. It started a sync, and it's recognized that we have a registration for the Entrust CA. It's already completed a synchronization. So let's see if it's brought in any assets into our Jellyfish deployment. We can see here that we now have a large volume of certificates brought in from this CA. Oh, sorry about that. I need to actually search for this CA. Okay, so if I jump through to the last few here, we can see that there's a number of configuration management certificates that have already expired. These look to have very short lifespans. These may have been for the CA Gateway software. I can see that I have the Entrust CA certificate itself here that I imported. And then after that, I have a few active certificates. As we can see that there's a few test certificates that I've issued, as well as some certificates for some end users. A number of my certificates are marked as pending. That's because I've issued these for the future. I had a time dilation issue, but I can see them here in Jellyfish regardless. It brings in all the issued certificates regardless of their status, whether they have expired, whether they're not yet valid, whether they're currently active or they're revoked. Jellyfish will tell you about what you have under your control. So I'm going to go ahead and bring over my Entrust CA here. So now on my Entrust Certificate Authority server, I'm going to log into the Certificate Authority Administration portal and issue a new user and a new certificate for that user and observe it be imported into Jellyfish. So to do this, I'm going to start by creating a new user. I'm going to call this user Adam Stephen and store him in my users search base. I can see the user has been created, and now I'm going to issue them a new certificate. Okay, so now that that's been issued, we can observe that the certificate has been issued in Jellyfish. If I jump back to my Jellyfish server, I should now be able to search for Adam's certificate. So I can do this by searching for the Entrust CA and adding an additional filter condition to look for Adam. And I can see my certificate has come in. I can view the certificate to see all of its details. And I can download the certificate PIM to inspect it with another certificate inspection tool of my choice. So I can see that the certificate was issued by Entrust Management Configuration from Entrust Local. So now that my CA has been migrated and my key has been managed through my HSM connection to the same HSM that originally created the key for my EASM CA, I should be able to assume control of the EASM certificate authority within the Jellyfish portal. So since I've already registered my certificate authority and I've organized my keys already, I should be able to now immediately issue certificates from the Entrust CA's identity within my Jellyfish portal. So I'm going to choose myself and issue a certificate to myself. I'm going to choose my Entrust CA. I'm going to enter the name Entrust Entity. Choose the DNS name of Entrust EE. And I'll leave all the other extensions blank. So I've now submitted the certificate request and received back my certificate. I should now be able to search for my Entrust Certificate Authority, and I should also be able to search for my End Entity Certificate. And I can see it here. This was issued in the same way. I can see that my issuer is Entrust Management Configuration Entrust Local, and I can see that my key identifier for my authority is the same. Again, I can download the certificate here, and I get a few extra features, such as being able to review my CSR now that I've created it through Jellyfish. I can also revoke my certificates. I can revoke the certificate that I've just created through the Jellyfish portal. But I can also revoke other certificates created by the Entrust CA. So for example, Erin's certificate that is not yet valid, I could perform a revocation immediately through the Jellyfish portal to cancel this. And I can see that the certificate has been revoked. If I come back to my Jellyfish search, and I search for Entrust certificates that have been revoked, I can see that both certificates have been revoked within the CA. So what I've shown you is the ability to bring in an existing certificate authority under management with Jellyfish, providing that you've been able to transfer the HSM's partition into a Jellyfish management solution, such as bringing up Jellyfish within the environment that contains this HSM, for example. I've imported all of my existing certificate issuances, as well as my revocations. I've kept my certificate authority up to date with Jellyfish by running my migration tool in the background, which keeps all of these actions up to date. And I performed certificate issuances and revocations through Jellyfish, acting on the certificate authority by replicating it within a Jellyfish CA using its certificate and its key pair. And that concludes this demo.